This is Larry Henares making your day with part 23 of a book I wrote on the destiny of the Filipino people. Subject: the Chinese fleet came in peace. Listen to this, and listen well. This is important. 600 years ago, in 1405, the Chinese imperial fleet set out on its first voyage to explore and trade with the world. The logistics of the enterprise remain unparalleled in maritime history. 27,000 men aboard 317 ships. The most impressive vessels were the treasure ships, built of hardwood, 130 meters long and 50 meters wide. Beside them, Columbus's 28-meter-long Santa Maria, in which he reached the Americas in 1492, would have looked like a banca. He had only 3 ships and 270 men. And this Chinese fleet had more than 300 ships. In comparison, the Spanish Armada that tried to invade England in 1588 was made up of only 130 ships, with 8,000 sailors and 18,000 soldiers. But they were very much smaller in size and very much more crowded. The Chinese ships had hulls with multiple watertight compartments for buoyancy, 9 masts, 12 gigantic sails made of bamboo slats rather than woven cloth. The slats could be angled like Venetian blinds, which enabled the ships to sail in winds unusable by Western craft. They carried trade and tribute goods and supplies. Aboard was a massive complement of bureaucrats, merchants, interpreters, astrologers, priests, cooks, doctors, marines, soldiers trained to operate at or from the sea. The fleet had been assembled on the orders of Yongle, Emperor Zhu Di, and placed under the command of an extraordinary explorer, Admiral Zheng He, the equal or better of Columbus, Francis Drake, or Cook. He was the son of a Mongolian Muslim who was captured and castrated to be a eunuch slave. The Imperial Chinese, like the Ottomans, noticed and utilized the talents of such slaves. And Zheng He was spotted, put into the service of the Ming Emperor's 4th son, Zheng Di, and educated at the Imperial College in Nanjing. More about this after these messages from our sponsors. This is Larry Henares making your day with part 23 of a book I wrote on the destiny of the Filipino people. Subject: the Chinese fleet came in peace. Now, the purpose of the fleet was first to legitimize the newly installed emperor, re-establish the influence associated with China in the Tang dynasty, which had been lost during the period where the Mongols invaded and ruled most of China. Number 2, to enlist states in an imperial tribute system that increased the domestic prestige of the emperor, since China considered itself the center of the world, with its emperor the ruler of Tianxia, all under heaven. Number 3, to reassert China as the main Asian power without the expense of establishing colonies, and to spread Chinese culture and its customs abroad. A relatively modern policy, an early exercise of what they call soft power. Number 4, to establish the suzerainty of the Chinese throne in other countries, and sending rulers or envoys to China to pay the respects to the emperor and bring back exotic goods as tribute. They were given in return gifts and promises of limited Chinese support if they were externally threatened. Number 5, to impose Pax Sinica, the peace of China, to stabilize Asia by making sure no country should become too powerful in relation to its neighbors. Number 6, to keep trade routes open, especially maritime routes for foreign trade, as a swift way to enrich China and his dynasty without imposing a heavy tax burden on its subjects. Through the later Tang and Sung dynasties, there had been international trade out of China's southern ports. Far more goods, especially silk and ceramics, were shipped south or west than ever came overland on the Silk Road to the Middle East and thence to Europe. Large trade junks out of these ports were the models for the imperial fleet. Some of its craft had private suites with their own entrances and lavatories for merchants, their staff and goods, which besides silk and porcelain included cotton, hemp, wine, oil, tea, and the much coveted exactly calibrated measuring instruments of China, notably balances and scales. The emperor decreed, "Let there be mutual trade at the frontier barriers in order to supply the country's needs and to encourage distant people to come here." More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.